Welcome back, fans, to the Larry Hembree pregame show. We're on our Where Are They Now segment, and I'm talking with Wilmer Wittmer, class of 1959, former Loogootee legend, with him in his home in Evansville, Indiana. Wilmer, how are you doing this evening?
Doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. I'm glad we could able to get a hold of you. Now, Wilmer, you graduated in 1959, and I think you played with Jerry Kemp and as a coach when you first came in, and Jack Butcher later on. But why don't you kind of reminisce with us about who were some of the players that played in your era, and then a little bit about your coaching staff.
Yeah, Larry, I had, of course, when I started out, I started my sophomore year over there at Loogootee, and Jerry Kemp was the coach at that point in time. And then after my sophomore year, Jack Butcher came on the scene in the basketball program at that point. And I think he was hired in as an assistant at the very beginning, and then I think Jerry decided to resign that position, and then so Jack was our varsity coach right off. So. And
who were some of the ball players that you played with during your tenure at Loogootee?
Well, that my senior year there, that was we had some good junior ball players on there, and Gordon Phillips was a senior with me, but then there was Nig and Danny Bruner. Some of those young men played at that point in time.
Wilmer, a lot of fans, I think, know this about you, but some of our younger listeners may not and have an opportunity to hear this. But when you played in 1959, I believe it was, you scored 45 points, which held up as an all-time scoring record for a single game in Loogootee for 36 years and was broke by Nick Toy in 1996. Jack always described you as a great shooter and was pretty quick, but back in those days, Jack plays slow-down ball now. How were you able to net in and get we're all envious if somebody could get enough shots, to get 45 points. Why don't you talk about your style of ball and your guys' offensive and the way you guys played back in the 50s?
Yeah, well, Jack always he talks about that game, and he probably have a good story or two to tell about that, because he always said that during that game I called timeout and told the other coach not to take that player off of me as the defensive player, because I was scoring so many points. But I do want to congratulate the young man there, Nick Toy, for scoring that many points. I had a good friend call me some time ago, and he said, well, really it's not a true comparison, because he had it figured out by listening to an old radio tape that probably 9 of these field goals would have been in the three-point range. So
right.
That puts me up there a little higher anyway. So I guess it's like Jack going after Sharpie's record over there in the wins. I don't think you're ever going to beat Sharpie out, because every time they figured he's got more wins. So
well, that's the truth.
And I guess it's that way with my scoring record, because every time I talk to someone, they've always got me scoring a lot more points than I actually scored. So I'm getting better as I get older.
Well, that's hopefully we all get that way.
Yeah.
It's interesting you mentioned about Howard Sharp's record, because you actually played with Jack played for Jack his first year in, and now here we are 41 years later, and Jack is 29 wins away from tying Sharp's record unless they bump it up again.
Mm-hmm.
What was it like really playing with Jack those first years? What kind of a coach was he, and was he as intense as he was through the years as most of us know him, or how did that all develop, and how did you guys react to his coaching style?
Well, let me comment first again on Sharpie's record. I mean, if they figure out the holiday tournaments and those practice games they play, Jack may never get that job done. I remember the very first day that Jack showed up at the gym. We had a little conference about 2 weeks prior, and Jack came out, and I got to tell you, it was scary. He had a knee pad on, 2 elbow pads on, and he practiced with us, and I want to tell you, he was mean and rough in those days as a coach and playing out there on the floor. I mean, I had never met up with anything like that, and I think really probably by him coming out there and playing some scrimmage with us, and of course I think he had a challenge to guard me some, so I think I got a little stronger because of it. But he came out and practiced with us, and he looked a little bit like Rambo when he showed up,
Wilmer, like we said, it's been 41 years or so, or 35 anyway, since you played. What have you been up to all these years? What happened after your career at Loogootee? And kind of tell us a little bit about what Wilmer Wittmer's been up to all these years.
Well, after I left Loogootee, and by the way, on a traditional basis as far as basketball is concerned, and I've got to congratulate those people over there. That really is a true basketball city, and one can be real proud that they say they graduated from Loogootee High School, because it's one of those things that it just seems like it goes on and on with the basketball tradition. But after I left there, I went over to Indiana State at Terre Haute, and there I played baseball. By the way, my baseball coach at Loogootee there was Lester Page, and I want to tell you, I learned a lot there in that particular sport, and played regular there, and then on the baseball team, and then in basketball I wasn't quite as fortunate. We had 9 sophomores moved up with me after my freshman year. We were all made the varsity team, and I wasn't one of the starters, but I sure give them heck while I was in there, and left there and then came into city of Evansville and taught school and coached for about 10, 11 years, and from there I went into financial and insurance, and joined up with the Franklin Financial Group and also American Franklin, and I'm currently now the regional manager with them after about 28 years, and cover the state of Kentucky and about half of Indiana and about half of Illinois. So that kind of puts you right up to date. And I have my wife Dora lives out there with me. We have 2 sons, both one employed here with me, and the other one has a limousine service here in town. So that's kind of the entire works, and we're all busy. My wife has a shop here in town, which maybe some of the fans out there know about, and putting on the Ritz, so a lot of people have talked about it anyway. So that's our whole group, and we love this little town. We got 2 great basketball teams, and of course I still follow them a little bit, but don't get around to see the Loogootee Lions very much.
Well, Wilmer, it's been exciting talking to you. I actually may reserve the right to call you again later if you would talk to us, because there's about a half a dozen other questions just in the last couple of comments you made that I'd like to follow up on.
Sure.
But unfortunately, we're running out of time for this particular show.
Yeah.
And I do want to say that I really appreciate many of you former ball players that have come on and talked. I think one thing Loogootee has that is unique in some ways is a very big tradition of former ball players that really the people in the community have never forgot. And Jack and many other fans have talked about the days when you played, and I've heard those stories several times, as many of the current ball players. I think it does a lot for the program, and I think you help the program out by coming on the air and speaking to the community, and it just keeps the tradition of Loogootee alive. And I think that's very important.
Glad to do it.
Good. Listen, Wilmer, you take care of yourself. I greatly appreciate you talking to us tonight, and maybe we'll catch you later in the season.
All righty.
All right, Wilmer.
Thank you.
You're
Bye-bye.
welcome. Bye.